Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Hexaorb Sorceress deck profile for post-Knights of the Rebirth. With the 8th booster pack, we got some more Sorceress support, very similar to Flagberg and Greedon. They seem to dish out a little bit of Hexaorb support every other set. So, with the last two sets, Moonfangs and Cerulean Blaze and Knights of the Rebirth, wanted to update the Hexaorb deck with all the changes made to it since the last update, which I think was last November at this point, and just show you all what this deck that focuses on being able to stack the front and critical triggers on the top of the deck and gain different card abilities based on your Vanguard can do. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck. We have the energy generator with our starter being Tri-Connect Sorceress. From Road Upon, if you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Tier Square Sorceress. When Road Upon by Pentagleam Sorceress, Counterblast 1, and draw a card. So it just gives you draw power on top of everything else in the deck for the cost of a Counterblast. Our grade 2 is Pentagleam Sorceress. When it's Road Upon by Hexaorb Sorceress, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you may put them on top of the deck in any order. So just the added search power of being able to set up the triggers for you to be able to then drive check with your Vanguard as well. And our last card in the ride deck is the original Hexaorb Sorceress. The main power in this deck is being able to Persona Ride. So you want to be able to run and Persona Ride as many times as you can. That's why we're running the original copy of Hexaorb Sorceress in the ride deck, and then 4 additional copies of Hexaorb Sorceress Aquamarine in the actual main deck. It's always regarded as Hexaorb Sorceress, or also regarded, so we can have this card be our go-to early game card, and then when we Persona Ride, have the added power of Aquamarine, since you need the Persona Ride power for the additional drive +1 anyway, and then you also increase the trigger effects by plus 10,000 as well, giving you a full 20k boost with each trigger as well. So then also on Vanguard, when a trigger unit is revealed for the drive check of the battle of this unit attack, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your rear guards and stand it. So then you have the potential for 5 attacks in this deck, since if you reveal the 2 different triggers, that's 2 units that you can restand thanks to Aquamarine, and a triple drive just betters your odds to be able to reveal at least 1 trigger with this play, and then the second just for the added bonus for another restand. The new grade 2 that we run in the deck is our Pentaculation Sorceress. On rearguard during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress and a card name, this unit gets +5 power. And from the drop, when your grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress and its card name is placed during your ride phase, you can Energy Blast 3. Call this card to rearguard, look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of the deck or into Soul. If you put a card into the Soul, this unit gets +5 until end of turn. So an added 20k power on its own. If you Persona Ride, it's a 30k attacker on its own as well. The make use of Energy Blast ability definitely does help with this deck, with all the Soul Blasting and Counter Blast abilities that we have. Having something that uses another one of our resources definitely is a big help in the deck. And then being able to just check the top card of the deck on top of everything else just gives us more guaranteed access to a trigger. And if it's not a trigger, we can put it into the Soul for an additional +5 power. Other grade 2s also consist of our Octaray Sorceress when it's placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or a greater Vanguard or Sorceress and its card name, Counter Blast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 cards from among them, put it into the hand, put the rest on the top of the deck in any order. If you put 2 cards in the hand, choose a card from your hand and put it on the bottom of the deck. So you can either have add back resource, because you do want to have consistent rear guards to be able to attack with this deck. And during the battle, this unit attack to Vanguard, if you Persona Ride, it gets +5, making it a 15k attacker on its own for the guarantee that we do Persona Ride during that turn that we did this. Other grade 2s also consist of the 3 copies of Proud Familiar, Kurakamina. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard Sorceress and its card name, you look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of the deck or into the Soul. So we're set up for the top cards of our deck. And on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard Sorceress and its card name, discard a card from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If you revealed a card with Sorceress, you may put that card into the hand. So the only big weakness of this card is obviously the Familiar doesn't have Sorceress in its name, so you can't reveal another copy. But I think that's also a way to limit this card with its power, so you don't just call out another of this card and then use the once per turn ability again off of this card. But still, great setup for once again being able just to check the top card of your deck and put it into the Soul, or leave it there as well. And then also for the grade 2s, 3 copies of Delta Pen Sorceress. When it's placed on rearguard from hand, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Sorceress and its card name, +1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the top or bottom of the deck. If you Persona Road this turn, choose up to 1 critical or front from your hand, reveal it, put it on the top of your deck. So just another guarantee to have a trigger on the top of your deck by being able to place it from your hand, using this card, giving you more resources as well, being able to check the top 2 cards of your deck, and then put one into the hand. And then if you Persona Road, being able to add back that card for you to then be able to drive check it. Lastly, for the grade 2s, we're running 2 copies of Quadracast Sorceress. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard with Sorceress and its card name, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them on the top of your deck in any order, and then Soul Charge 1. More Soul Charge ability for our Soul Blast, because we do need plenty of Soul to be able to use with our Hexaorb Sorceress, Aquamarine, and then being able to also use the added setup for the top cards of our deck with along this Soul Charge power. For the grade 1s have 1 new card from the Moonfangs and Cerulean Blaze booster set. But before we get to it, our 4-ofs consist of 4 copies of Recurring Magic, Lalarita. At the end of the battle, your drive check revealed a trigger unit. If you have a Vanguard with Hexaorb Sorceress, +1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your other rear guards, stand it, and retire this unit. So you provide the boost with Lalarita, and then retire it to then be able to restand another card. So she guarantees your 2 restands for your rear guards if you didn't have the 2 triggers off of your drive check, being able to retire and use her own skill to restand the other rearguard that you didn't restand with your Vanguard's ability. 3 copies also of our Hanagon Saturate Sorceress. When it's placed on rearguard, if you have a Vanguard with Sorceress and its card name, +1, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 card with Hexaorb, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle the deck. So it's just search power. So we have a guarantee to add our grade 3 to our hand, and then have a guarantee for that Persona Ride during the following turn, just by the use of a Counterblast and just needing a Vanguard with Sorceress in its card name. So with this card, being able to search your deck for that grade 3, we can even use it earlier game, because we just need a Vanguard with Sorceress. You don't even have to have a grade 3 Vanguard, you just have to have any of the additional Ride deck on the Vanguard circle and a Counterblast to use. Our new grade 1 is the Sector Streak Sorceress. On rearguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Sorceress and its card name, put this unit into the soul, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them on top of the deck in any order. So just more setup while also being able to place cards in your soul. The mix around for cards for what I wanted to play were the biggest problem with this deck. So if you wanted to run full Sector Streak, you could drop down Quadracast for 2 additional copies of this grade 1, just for more of a guarantee to put in the cards in the soul. It just eats up a rear guard. That's why I'm mixing and matching to see which one I prefer for the lineup. And then lastly, for the grade 1s, our Sentinel lineup. So the Elementaria Sanctitude, and then the 3 copies of Aegis Mare Dragon. With our Regalis piece being Gradius Gradel, since we need that Persona Ride power, and this order can activate it for that play. So on top of our grade 4s we're running, we have this additional order to also initiate Persona Ride for us. With our trigger lineup, we're running the 6 criticals, so 4 copies of Chevonia, and the 2 White Fang Witch Disma. If you have the ability criticals, you can always put them in for the Chevonia spot. Our fronts consist of 4 copies of Alpac, and then the 1 copy of White Crow Sorceress Taxis. It is a Sorceress card, but still wanted to run the 5k ability front. Also, if you want to try the Put into Soul front, you could always put that in also for the deck in place of any of the front triggers, with our heals being the 1 copy of Invigorate Sage, the 1 Hardiness Tier Sorceress, and 2 copies of Palpitation Angel, and our over trigger being the Martinoa for the added drive check power of our rear guards as well. Since there's always a guarantee that we'll have a restood rear guard, this card definitely does help, just to give those rear guards additional drive check power after they restood also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. I always like to update Hexaorb Sorceress. It's one of those decks we've had since the very beginning, and has steadily gotten support through many, many booster packs. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.